If you're a police officer or a member of his family, you live with the threat of being in harm's way every day. The night of February 22nd will forever be etched in the minds of Jackson Police Sergeant Mike Thomas and his wife Sherri.
On that night, Sergeant Thomas suffered a brutal attack while investigating a domestic disturbance at a local convenience store. He's undergone 2 surgeries to repair massive facial injuries. His story has set off a wave of support throughout West Tennessee. Sergeant and Mrs. Thomas join us live on Jackson 24/7. Sergeant and Mrs. Thomas, thank you so much for being here today. Now, first off, I want to ask, 2 months after the incident that night, how are you feeling, Sergeant Thomas?
I'm feeling great. The injuries are getting substantially better. I was able to get the wires out of the mouth. I actually had wires, my jaws were wired together for about 60 days, wasn't it? About 60 days, got those out last week, so I'm able to go on a diet of soft food versus the liquid I've been on for the last 2 months.
And tell us what that's like. What was the most difficult thing during that time of having your jaw wired shut?
Communicating.
Stressful.
Yeah.
In the clip we saw, it seemed like you were speaking pretty well. Did you have to sort of learn how to speak with the wires in your jaw, or?
I think it just came naturally. The more you talk, the better you could get understood. A lot of friends of mine said that initially it was somewhat difficult to understand me, and then the more I talked, cause was just most of the time was just us there. I wouldn't shut up at times, and I got, I guess, fairly proficient at it.
Now, Ms. Thomas, the day the wires came out, where did he want to go? What did he want to eat? And I want to ask you, Sergeant, how was the meal?
It was very good. It was great, actually. After 2 months, it was great.
First thing he wanted to do after he got the wires out was to go to Moe's. That's his favorite place.
It's a good choice.
It was his choice. He wanted to go to Moe's, and he got a rice bowl, and it had ground beef and rice.
So soft foods, but Mexican for you then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, for people who may not know, how severe were the injuries and what had to be done in that first 6-hour surgery?
I had severe facial fractures on both sides, and on the right side it was the more severe. The whole orbital socket on all sides were fractured, top, side, around, and this part of my cheek over here was also fractured. The doctor, Keith Taylor, performed 6-hour surgery. He was able to put plates in both cheeks up here. At that point, he placed 14 anchors, 7 on the upper jaw, 7 on the lower jaw, what he used to wire the jaws together. The upper jaw was, I didn't realize it could do that, had come loose, and that's what he wanted to stabilize. And the lower jaw was actually, there was no injury to it, so that's what he used to stabilize everything.
Now, Ms. Thomas, when you first received the call about what happened, what was your first thought that went through your mind?
Well, I had just gotten out of church, and what had happened, I had went in the side door, and as soon as I stepped in the kitchen and went to the living room, somebody knocked on the front door. And we live on the highway, so I kind of opened the door, and I kind of peeped out, and there was one of his friends was at the door, and she says, "Sherri, Mike got hurt, you need to come with me." And I just looked at her, and she says, "Sherri," she told me like 6 or 7 times, she says, "Sherri, you need to come with me, Mike got hurt." And I just kept looking at her, but before I had this intuition that something was going to happen. I had read a couple of months ago about this lady who was at work that had an intuition about her husband. She had a feeling she needed to go home, and the car was laying on him. He was working on it, and she went home, and and he was hurt. But I kept having this feeling about something about Mike, that the policemen were going to come to church, or something about Mike, but I didn't know. But anyway, that night I went in, and his friend kept telling me, like 6 or 7 times, she kept telling me, "Sherri, you need to come with me, Mike got hurt." And I kept giving her this dumb look like, "What?" like, what you want?
And I hate to cut
what
you
are
off,
saying?
but we're out of time. We'll come back in the next
Okay.
segment, though. When we come back, we'll ask Sergeant Thomas how all police officers view situations such as we've seen this week in Baltimore.
And we'll ask Mrs. Thomas how they look to the future. Stay with us as we continue with this special Jackson 24/7 report.
Since 1823, Union University has been characterized by both its academic excellence and its Christian commitment. One of the top private universities in the nation, Union is widely recognized for its academic quality and exceptional value. In a close-knit learning community, Union prepares students to think, to create, and to excel in top graduate schools and professions around the world. Give us one day. Come experience Union for yourself.
Now you can have access to utility outage tips and tools anytime, anywhere from Jackson Energy Authority. Visit the Outage Center from your computer, tablet, or mobile device to check the map for an electric outage in your area. Also, stay up to date with recent social media outage posts and photos from JEA. For all this and more, go to jaxenergy.com and visit the Outage Center for outage information in your area.
Boys and Girls Club of Jackson, great futures start here. We focus on kids. We focus on academic success, good character and citizenship, and healthy lifestyle, producing those productive, responsible, and caring citizens. We need your help as a community. We would like donations, people to volunteer, and to provide community service. Please check out our website at www.bgcjmc.org.
This week, we've seen police officers endure threats and attacks in the city of Baltimore. 15 officers have been injured, and anger continues in various American cities.
In this segment, we'll visit with Sergeant Mike Thomas about what all police officers are experiencing today, and we'll talk with his wife Sherri about their future. Now, to start off with, you mentioned this a little bit in the last segment we did, but you do go to church. Both of you are people of faith. How has that impacted you through the last 2 months?
The amount of prayers that we've gotten, and we're still continuing to get cards, and the support of strangers from other states, it really floored me. The fact that we have received cards from as far away as Idaho and California, it's just I don't know how they heard about it, but just the support we've gotten and the prayers we've gotten have, in my opinion, been a substantial reason that I have recovered as quickly as I have.
Mm-hmm. Now, going back to what we came in with about Baltimore and things like Ferguson, when you see a situation like that, what goes through your mind as a police officer?
Well, this is a mess. I feel those guys on the lines there, and we watched quite a bit of it the other night. I'm empathetic with them. We have never, in my time, 26 years at the Jackson Police Department, had that large of a situation, but we've had situations where we've had to handle crowds, but nothing like that. And I just can imagine what's going through their minds. They got rocks and concrete being thrown at them, and you can't break. At that point, you have to stay there. People are cussing you, people are calling you names, and they're throwing bottles at you, but you can't break. You have to stay there. That's what your job is. And those guys, the lines I saw, the guys on the street did an excellent job. I mean, they held their lines. They did what they had to do.
Now, shifting gears just a little bit to you, Mrs. Thomas, but y'all have had a lot of acknowledgments from the community, as Sergeant Thomas was mentioning. In fact, I think there were some people who came out from Home Depot to do repairs to your home. How has that been for you? How have you enjoyed or appreciated what's come from the community?
Just been overwhelmed. I mean, I appreciated it so much, and so has Mike. I mean, I just appreciate it so much. We do. Just warms your heart. Mm-hmm. Just appreciate it.
And Sergeant Thomas, what do you think that first day is going to be like back on the job? What's going to go through your mind? you think?
Hopefully, I'll be able to go back in full capacity pretty soon, and I should be able to integrate what I've been doing with no problems at all. Granted, after this has happened, you're always going to have something in the back of your mind, and the lesson I want to take to especially the younger officers is always be aware of your surroundings. Make sure that you never get into a complacent frame of mind.
All right, well, thank you so much for being here today to both of you.
Thank you. We finally have several days without rain in the forecast. That's good news for all of us.
Steve says this time you can count on a good weekend. A final look at the weather is next.